All right, third grade, well, welcome to Shurley Grammar. Our goal for today, I'm not sure if you can see, if I tilted that right up there, is to understand our group 8 and 9 sentences so that you're ready to remember a lot of these tests that we have in Shurley right now. We're counting as a daily grammar grade. So you're gonna do the Unit 2 Group 8 test this week, but it's really a daily grammar grade. And then you're also going to do the Unit 2 Group 9. There's 2 tests. Don't be intimidated by that. If you look at them, there's really only 2 sentences that you're classifying. A lot of the other stuff is our synonym and antonym stuff and our possessives. And so we're going to take those 2 grades and do what's best for you. We're either going to average those 2 test grades together that we get back from you, or we'll take the best of your 9 tests and we'll count that for your Unit 2 test. And everything else from Unit 2 has really mostly been these daily grammar grades. So let's go over some of these sentences are from Unit 2 Group 8 and some are from Unit 2 Group 9. So you can kind of look at both of those pages in your grammar book. But don't do them with me yet. Follow along with me with your finger, and then you will work independently after the video to see that you understand. And you can always pause the video and do a sentence right after watching me, or you can rewatch the video if that's helpful. Before we classify these sentences though, I wanted to just talk one more time about our possessives, about making nouns possessive, because that we encounter that both on our Group 8 test that we're going to take as a grammar practice, and we also encounter that on our 9A and B, that's our test for Unit 2. So I want you to look at, actually if you'll go back to your Unit 2 Group 7 sentences or Group 7 test that you took previously, that's hopefully still in your Shurley. I want you to look at part C and D because we're going to talk a little bit about possessive phrases. So we talked about making nouns possessive, and each time you encounter that in one of your daily assignments or your test, it gives you the little instructions where you can kind of follow step by step. If it's singular, it tells you what to do. If it's plural, and what rule to follow. But we want to make sure we understand also when we come on a possessive phrase, what we're doing with that phrase. When it's not just one word, when I'm not talking about the girls and it says make girls possessive, I kind of know what to do with that now. But when I have a phrase, like for instance, the directions will tell us to rewrite the phrase and use a possessive noun to show ownership. So look at number 11, it says the bread of the baker. So this is the of rule. We call this the of rule. So it will be easy to decide which noun to make possessive. So think about this. Does the bread own the baker, or does the baker own the bread? Right? The baker owns the bread. So that now I know that because the baker owns the bread, I need to make baker possessive, right? Not bread. So you're going to have possessive of phrases where you have more than one noun, and you're going to have to decide which one to make, and you're going to use that of rule. So if you want to look at your, flip to your Unit 2 Group 8 test, that you're going to take as a grammar grade. After you watch this, look down at the possessive phrase or the possessive phrases in part C and D. So we follow the of rule. All of these have the word of in these phrases. So look at 23, the car of dad. Does dad own the car, or does the car own dad? Well, I don't think the car owns dad, but dad owns the car. So now I know that the possessive is dad's. So in the little box where it says possessive phrase, the phrase is dad's car, right? And so I know to make dad, it's singular, to make dad possessive, I follow the rule of a singular possessive by adding an apostrophe S, because it's a singular noun that does not end in S. So I'm giving you number 23. It's dad's car. So I would write it dad's car. That would be the answer in the possessive phrase box on number 23. All right, so hopefully just reviewing that and talking about that a little more. Let's look though at one more thing. Let's look up at just the possessive form in general that you learned last week with Mrs. Karaskia and you've put into practice a little bit. Look at number 1, plain wings. So the first thing I need to do right above that is a little box, and it gives me all the rules that I have to follow to figure out how to make this noun possessive. It gives me a singular noun, it gives me a plural noun that ends in S, and a plural noun that does not end in S. Well, I've got a singular noun here, and it doesn't end in S, so it looks like it follows rule 1. A singular noun for a singular noun, you add apostrophe S. So I simply go to plain wings, it underlined plain, so I know that's my possessive, and I will add an apostrophe S. But I also need to make sure I fill out the entire box. I need to say it's singular by writing an S. And then I follow rule 1, so in the next box I would write rule 1, and then for possessive form I would write plains apostrophe S following rule 1 for singular possessive nouns, plains wings. All right, so now I've given you the answer to that one as well. That is number 1 in part A. All right, so hopefully going over those possessive forms a little more will help you understand. Remember that when we do Shurley, even when we're looking at something that's a test, a lot of times they give you all the rules you need to follow, the step-by-step. All right, so don't get overwhelmed or lost in the weeds. Just go one step at a time. The first thing you need to do is find out if that noun is singular and plural. Once I know if it's singular or plural, I can figure out what rule to follow to make that noun possessive the right way. Am I following rule 1, rule 2, or rule 3? And they're all there right on your test. It lists all the rules out. And then I write the rule, and then I follow the rule by putting it into practice by making that noun possessive. All right? So you're gonna do plenty of those and get lots of practice this week for your 8 and 9 tests, and your parents will have the answer key so they can help steer you, and they probably know already and can help steer you in the right direction for making those nouns possessive. All right, let's get into these sentences. We'll go through them and we will get you ready for your Unit 2 Group 8. So look up here with me at we left the picnic basket behind in our rush. So who left the picnic basket behind in our rush? We, that's a subject pronoun. So we need to write an SP above we. What is being said about we? We left. Left is our verb. We left what? Basket. Verify the noun. So does basket mean the same thing as we? Are basket and we the same thing? No, basket and we are very different. So we know that basket is our direct object. So I would write a DO above basket. And then that makes left our verb transitive. Don't forget to go back to your verb and make it a verb transitive with a V-T. What kind of basket? Picnic. Adjective. The article adjective. Left where? Behind, adverb, right? Because it's describing our verb, so we know it's an adverb and not an adjective. In a preposition, so we put a P. In what? Rush, object of the preposition. Whose rush? Our rush. Possessive pronoun adjective, we write a PPA. Subject, noun, verb. I'm supposed to write it over here, but I don't know that I left myself enough space. Subject, noun, verb. What pattern is this? We have a direct object, so we know that this is pattern 2, right? Because now you're going to encounter mixed patterns. That means you're going to have some pattern 1 and some pattern 2 thrown in. So you're going to have to pay really close attention and make sure you understand what makes a pattern 1 sentence and what makes a pattern 2. Remember, our pattern 2 sentences have a direct object. All right, subject, noun, verb. Pattern 2, we would write direct object, DOP2. We know it's a P2 because of our direct object. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb, divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. And don't forget to go back and put your prepositional phrases in parentheses. And in this one, I just have one prepositional phrase, in our rush. All right, let's look at the next sentence. The campers were frightened easily after dark. Who was frightened easily after dark? Campers. Subject, noun. What is being said about campers? Campers were frightened. So we put a verb above frightened. Were is our helping verb, HV. After, or were frightened how? Easily, adverb. After, object or preposition, after what? Dark, object of the preposition. The article, adjective. All right, so let's look at this. Subject, noun, verb. Do I have a direct object? No. So in this case, I've got a pattern 1 sentence mixed in. So I need to make sure I'm looking at each time and writing the right pattern. Subject, noun, verb, P1. All right, subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb, divide the complete subject from the complete predicate, and then I also have a prepositional phrase that I need to put in parentheses. All right, let's do the last two. I've got to flip there, so bear with me for a second. All right, bring 2 loaves of bread to the party. All right, who brings 2 loaves of bread to the party? You, right? So we have an understood subject pronoun. We know they're talking about you. It's a command. So we know that we need to put a little you over here. We need to write you in parentheses, you, and write it as our subject pronoun. I lost my place. What is being said about you? You bring. So bring is our verb.